Good morning, everybody. It's Roshida. I'm here. So many of you are already here in the comments. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I see Monica Adelina, Pent Up Wanderlust. It's early. Francis, Yolanda, Greta King, Glass Half Full. They're all in my YouTube membership. Thanks, ladies, for supporting. And for those of you that were at our weekly Zoom session this week, I hope you enjoyed it. It was nice chatting with you. I also see Alicia, Raquel, Flynn, Free, Patty, Simi, Celeste, Jan, Chloe, Deanne. Thanks for all hanging out. We're here. And today I wanted to talk about countries where Black women feel safe. And I really wanted your input. Not feel safe, feel welcomed. Feel like when they go to a country, they have an experience that supports who they want to be, how they want to be treated, how they want to feel, really. Like, what are the countries you go to that help you feel how you want to feel? So that's what we're talking about today. Yes, Monica, I am back in Mexico. I'm at home. And I'm excited to be back here. Friends, I've been gone for 2 weeks in the US, and it was a hard 2 weeks. I cleaned up my storage unit. I've talked to you guys the last 2 weeks, I think, about what that process was like as I was going through the process. But now that it's mostly over, I feel like I want to talk about it again, but I need some distance from where I am right now. You know, when you're online, they say talk about your scars, not your wounds, right? Like, because if I have an open gaping wound on my arm that I haven't dealt with, I can't really give you anything except I'm bleeding, right? Like, I can't tell you what I did to fix it, or like how I'm healing, or how this has changed me. All I can tell you is like, oh, I'm gushing blood, right? And so I think for me, the storage unit situation is still a bit of a wound, not a scar. And I'll be back to talk about it more when it is more of a scar. As for now, I thought I was going to wait for I got back on Tuesday. My cleaning lady comes on Friday, and I thought I was going to wait for her to help her unpack. But the unpacking, even though I brought back 7 suitcases, the unpacking was actually not that hard. 7 suitcases does not hold that much stuff. You'd be surprised. When you're talking about everything you've ever owned in your life, 7 suitcases is not that much stuff. I know for some of y'all that sounds crazy. And some of those suitcases were 70 pounds, but it's not now. It's not that much stuff when in the context of everything I owned up to a certain point in my life. Anyway, I unpacked most of the stuff. She came and she folded every piece of clothes. So everything, like, that part of the chaos is over. I'm very glad about that. That is no longer part of the wound. She came in and she did boop, boop, booped and folded everything. First thing she said to me when I was like, we're not doing any other cleaning today. It's just help me like organize this stuff, because I piled it on my guest bed. The first thing she said was, "These are all yours?" Yes, they're all mine. But what I had to explain to her was like, this is like, at a certain point in my life, I left probably 98% or more, 99% of the clothes that I owned, and I went to travel the world with 1 suitcase, right? And so then because of COVID, I didn't get back to that, to like the other 99% of clothes I owned for 5 years. And so I, in that 5 years time, had to buy new clothes. So she comes in and sees me with a closet full of new clothes, and I've just brought my old clothes back. So she was like, I don't understand what's happening here. And I was like, let me give you a little bit of what's going on. So very helpful. Love her. She folded for 4 hours. And then when her time, like, she works for 4 hours. When her time was up, hey, Locating Cozy, thanks for joining the membership. When her time was up, she was like, oh, I'm going to wash dishes. And I was like, no, you're not. Like, no, you're not. I don't want to wash the dishes, but I'll do that this week. Like, it's fine. Go home. Because you have been folding clothes for 4 hours. So that part of it is done. I just have a couple more things to do. As you guys know, Adele was with me, and it was amazing. And she's the most amazing person on earth. Y'all never gonna hear me say that again. If she's watching, I got to block out this part because she can't hear me say that. It's going to go to her head. It's going to go to her head. We don't like that. But yeah, there are parts of it that are still a scar. And when I'm past that, I'll give you more. I'll give you all the details. Okay, but hey, if you're here for the first time, 5 minutes in, my name is Roshida Dowe, and I am a career break coach, and I help women take breaks and leave jobs that don't serve them or they don't want to be at anymore. And I also help them move abroad. I help them move abroad as part of the Exodus Summit team, and I have a program for career breaks and moving abroad called From Burnout to Bliss. We had our monthly coaching yesterday, and I tell them all the time, it's my favorite place. Group coaching with them is my favorite place on the internet. I get to do it monthly. Exodus Summit, y'all know I love Exodus Summit, but it happens once a year. This group coaching happening monthly is such a great way for that community to stay together and tight and really support each other as we figure out how to move forward in non-traditional ways, right? Like a lot of people who are thinking about moving abroad, and if you're watching this video, maybe you are, for a lot of Black women, we don't typically have families and communities where this sounds normal and where people know how to support you and the things to say to support you, especially if, you're thinking about leaving that good government job, right? Different parts of it are going to be challenging for different people to accept, but in From Burnout to Bliss, it's a community that accepts you as you are and knows why you want to do it. And so it's a really great place to be. I've also spent most of the week planning for our Exodus Summit trip meetup, our Exodus Summit meetup in Marrakesh, Morocco from April 20th to 24th. The waiting list is still open for that. The waiting list is still open. The waiting list is within the Exodus Summit Facebook group. So if you're interested in that, you can join it. It's pinned at the top of the Exodus Summit Facebook group. I'm talking and typing at the same time. Y'all know that's not safe for me. But if you're not in the Exodus Summit Facebook group, you have to be a Black woman to join, and we need to see that you're a Black woman from your photo, because it is a safe space for Black women to join. There we go. I'm dropping the link to join the Facebook group right there. It's exodussummit.com/community. That'll take you straight to our Facebook group. We're really looking forward to Marrakesh. The women are planning and plotting, and it's coming together beautifully. And that's going to be another great community of women who are together. And one of the reasons we're going to Marrakesh this year is that Stephanie Perry, my co-host for this experience and my sister in all things Exodus Summit, wanted to go to Marrakesh, but she didn't want to go to Marrakesh by herself, or she wanted to go to Morocco, but she didn't want to go to Morocco by herself, because we've individually and in our communities heard feedback that Morocco can be challenging for women who are solo travelers. And a lot of people, I'm a solo traveler most of the time, a lot of women in our communities are solo travelers. And we thought, what a good way to get the experience. We want to go somewhere together. Why not go somewhere where we probably wouldn't go by ourselves? And so that's why we're going to Morocco and going to Marrakesh together. Super excited about that. But that leads me to the topic for today. Where do you feel welcomed? Where do you feel supported? Where do you feel like you want to feel? So we're going to talk about that in the comments. I kind of want to go in order today. So I'm going to go through a continent, and I want us to address countries by continent. Let me see what I missed in the comments, because I see y'all are at it. Auntie Lou says she's trying to picture herself walking in 7 suitcases. We had help. Would not have done it without. It was the day we flew was a disaster. I'm still shell-shocked. I'm still not sleeping well. There was the amount of stress we had. It was very bad, but we're here. Wound is still open, but we're here. All right. Simi's working hard on establishing a home base, and I'll get rid of my storage. Yep. Let's see. Edna wants to know, is it still safe in Mexico? I'm going to get to that. I think one of the things we should talk about is, I have notes. so I don't forget. One of the things we should talk about is what safety means individually to each of us and collectively in like our Black woman circle. What does safety mean, right? I see you, Halisi, with your Portuguese. Let's see. Yes, Valerini, you see it? From storage. The 1976 Broadway recording, the record of the original Broadway show, Color Girls. The record is in there unscathed. It was in my storage unit. It was a present for my bestie, probably in like 2002, probably. So I've had that forever. It's existed. It's from before I was born. But yeah, that is the original Broadway recording of the play. Excited to get my hand. You guys will see more things rotating in and out. I'm excited to get my hands on my stuff. So anyway, okay, so I'm still bitter about this. Y'all know I'm not ashamed and I'm not scared to tell you when I have some bitterness in my soul. And today's bitterness is that y'all are going to Portugal after the Marrakesh event, and some of you just because, to meet up with Halisi, and I can't go. And I don't like that. Like, I want y'all to be happy and free and all that stuff, but without me, without me, I know I sound like a dude right now, but like without you, without me, I don't like that. And I see Stephanie say I was invited. Yes, I was invited, but Stephanie knows I cannot go because I won't be awake on the 26th. If planning events like our Marrakesh event, even though we are not planning things every day, still takes a lot out of us, I will be in bed on the 26th. Y'all will be having fun. I'll also be in Morocco. But I'm bitter, so that's it. Okay, let's talk about it. First up, I was trying to go alphabetically with these continents, which puts Africa at the top. Let's start in Africa. Where in Africa have you felt like I feel really welcomed? I feel like I come here and I am in a place where how I appear in the world, right? This is going to be individual for all of us, right? Like every answer is going to be individual to each person and each circumstance, right? Like I've gone to a country once and felt great and gone to a country a second time and it's been terrible. So each different circumstance is going to be different. But where have you gone where you, as you show up, right? Whether that is dark, light, short, tall, fat, skinny, queer, cishet, like however you show up in the world, where in Africa have you shown up and felt like, I really like this. I really like this experience. For me, Johannesburg, South Africa. I really like how I feel when I'm in Johannesburg, South Africa. What about you? Drop it in the comments. Oh, okay. Stephanie says South Africa too. Okay. South Africa for real. It was clear I wasn't South African because she's tall, but they were good to me and wanted to make sure I loved their country. I felt like in South Africa, when I was there, people were more, it's one of the few places I've been where people are like, oh, you're not one of us? Why aren't you one of us? Right? Like, because they would start speaking to me in one of their local languages and I'd be like, no, girl, I'm so sorry. I can't. I don't like, I'm just trying to check out of the store. And I don't have the context. I might be able to pick up a few words, but I don't have grocery shopping words. So like, right? Because the assumption was like, you're here, you're South African. And I was like, okay, this feels good. I didn't feel othered in the way that I might in other countries. And so that was it for me. Ivana says South Africa. Our Black Utopia says South Africa, especially Cape Town, maybe because I had more friends of friends to meet in Cape Town than Joburg. Yeah, I think they're both different cities. I will tell you that when I was in, Jay says Cape Town as well. Bear Lux says South Africa. When I was in South Africa, though, I struggle the way I struggle in certain places in the US when I encounter unknown older white people. Like when they was fighting, what side were you on? Because it's not that long ago, right? Like you were in the fight. So what were you doing? So personally, that was one of the things. Like we went on a safari outside of Johannesburg, I think. I don't remember. Where were we? Was it my mom? Maybe outside of Johannesburg. We were in a safari. I don't remember exactly where. And everyone is trying to, like, if there's like a big animal, all the cars kind of come around to the same place. And this car of older whites started like cussing us out and like being rude because we got there first and they couldn't see, like they didn't get the prime spot. We got the prime spot. And I'm like, maybe that's just who you are as a person. Or maybe you still got apartheid deep in your soul. Like not even that deep. Maybe it's like right here. It's here waiting to get out. Like, I don't know. Right. So that was the one thing for me about South Africa where I could like, this is not me saying that I think that racism only exists in South Africa and that only exists in places that had apartheid or something similar, right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that because that struggle was so recent and visible, and because as I understand it, everyone took a side, I'm still a little wary of them. But I didn't encounter, you know what I mean? Like I was in, every time I've gone there, I think I've been there 3 or 4 times. Every time I've gone there, I have felt like I'm surrounded by Blackness and I love it. I've been to Durban. I loved that too in South Africa. I will say there were a few corners in Durban where I would like turn a corner and I'd be like, oh, this is not my street. And by this is not my street, I mean, I ain't walking down the street. Because everybody, every time I went out in Durban, like a taxi driver would say like, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful. And I was like I'm not uncautious. Like I'm a cautious person, but most of the time I felt really, really safe. It was literally like I would look at a street, like look ahead and be like, no, I will find a different way to get where I'm going. I'm not walking down that street. But the beach, I went for New Year's, I think, and like seeing all like little Black kids being so like on a beach, being so joyful with each other and like in a space where they're allowed to be as loud as they want and play however they want without anyone silencing them or acting like they don't belong was really powerful to me. And so Johannesburg, Durban, Cape Town, not as much, but still in there. South Africa was one of the places for me. So let me see. All right, let's see what else we have from Africa in the comments. Let's see. Latrice says Rwanda. Tell us more about Rwanda, Latrice. African and Blessed, says Josie. Mm-hmm. Angela would be in South Africa if she'd take her husband. But I feel like she can convince her husband. I feel like Lamar will get along. Now that he's in Mexico, he's ready for the next, not ready today, but he'll be ready for the next step. He'll be ready. I feel it. Okay, Monica Dennis said, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya. She liked Senegal a lot, but don't speak the languages. I didn't really feel welcomed in Senegal. I felt challenged at every occasion in Senegal. But like I said, different experiences. We all show up differently in the world and a lot of different experiences. So, you don't take what we're saying to mean that you're going to have the same experience. Each of us will have a different thing. All right. Tamika's planning to go to Zanzibar this summer. Who has been to Zanzibar and has some feedback? Let's see. Okay. So when Stephanie was in Cape Town, she was staying sightseeing with a Black woman from Johannesburg, and she said, "Don't give the white people a thought." Yeah. I mean, besides the time the woman, they were visibly angry in the face that they had to like see around us, and it was like, it's first come first to see the lion. It's first come first serve. So like all of this carrying on, you think we're gonna move our car to let you get in front? Girl, go sit down somewhere. But like, yes, it was. I saw that, and then I was like, back to what I'm doing. But it triggers my like, is this a safe space for me to be? Because here's this anger out of the blue. So, okay, our Black Utopia is interested in Durban. Her sister grew up partially in Durban. I like Durban. The beach was nice. There were monkeys. I don't typically like places with monkeys. Like walking down the path next to the beach, there were all these signs that were like, it would just be like a monkey on like a yellow sign. I walked a little more and I heard a noise in the bush. Walked a little more, heard the noise, and then there were just monkeys in front of me on the like between my hotel and like a casino. There's a walkway full of monkeys. I don't like monkeys like that. I don't trust monkeys like that. If there's one animal that I'm like, could you go be okay over there? I'll be over there if you'll be over there. Could we do that? Could we do separate corners? It's monkeys for me. And so the monkeys, it took me a few days to get acclimated to the fact that like these monkeys are here. They're not going to hurt you. They're not going to run up on you. They're just looking for some food. Monkeys get a little too friendly. I don't like that. I don't know you like that. Don't touch me. But other than that, I had a great time in Durban. My best travel experience was attending Afropunk in Johannesburg. I met some Brazilian ladies there. Everybody looked like a dream. I haven't been to Afropunk. I don't think I'm a festival person. That probably doesn't surprise any of you. All the things that are really like important to me don't seem like would make me a festival person. Like very clean bathrooms, seats, little to no people, right? Like I'm just nothing about that aligns with being a festival person unless I'm like super VIP, like I'm with an artist, right? Like I'm here with the headliner. Then I could possibly be a festival person. Otherwise, I don't see it happening. The thought of the long flight to South Africa is keeping me back. My anxiety won't let me that long anymore. Can you pick a place in the middle to take a break? Could you fly to the Middle East? Could you fly to Europe and spend a couple days there and then fly to South Africa? Is there a different way you could do this in which you wouldn't have that long flight? Or are there coping mechanisms? Like, I'm not going to tell you to try coping mechanisms. I'm saying this generally, but the idea that you haven't thought of that is very condescending. So I'm not saying that directly to you. I'm saying that for other people, maybe there are things you could try. I don't know, meditating, Xanax. I don't know. But stopping in the middle for a couple days is what I would probably do if I didn't want to do a long flight. All right. So Pray, Travel, Eat, Repeat says Ghana is my spot. Let's talk about, the monkeys be stealing stuff. Not from me. Let's talk about Ghana and then Rwanda. So who has insight on Ghana that they want to share about their experiences there? Okay. Denise says a friend in Ghana, a he. So that's going to be a different experience than we'll most likely have. But probably helpful information. Shared how he does not feel that his safety is challenged by police. However, he gets shook down financially. I need a place without financial shakedowns. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. Anything else in Ghana? Happy Sunday, Michelle. Thanks for a little tip in my pocket. Thank you. All right. So Ghana. Any more thoughts before we move on? Because I know we have some. We'll put Ghana to the side for a second. Kind of some more of you guys have been. Let's also talk about Nigeria, if you have any Nigeria thoughts. Rwanda. I hear great things from people living in Rwanda. Halana Black lives in Rwanda. What's her name? The painter. I said her name Friday. On Friday, I said her name. The Vicarians sent her on a sabbatical. She's a painter. Lives in Rwanda. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Come on, somebody give me her name. Mama One lives in Rwanda. I don't know Mama One. Unapologetic nomads for Black family experience in Rwanda. Let's see. Maisha Francis. We literally just talked about her on Friday and about how she's doing. I could not get that name. All right. And she's really liking it there. Maisha's someone who like thought about it and then did it. Like she was like, I think I want to do it. And then she was gone and made it happen. And it was amazing to watch. And I know they both enjoy their experience there. That's my impression from seeing what they talk about online, right? That they both enjoy their experience there. I feel like, okay, Latrice says, felt very welcome in Rwanda. Super nice people who speak English very well. The non-Black people there were super rude. Shocked, I say. Shocked. What's funny? What's not funny? I think I mentioned this in one of my Senegal videos. Like, I saw non-African people being very, very rude to Senegalese people. And I'd be like, haven't you taken enough from this continent, from this country? Haven't you? Like, you're just going to like walk in front, like we're in a line and you're just going to walk in front of them like you don't see them? That man is 6 foot tall. You see him. But you don't feel like you need to, like, even in Africa, you don't feel like you need to pay them the respect you would pay somebody else by getting in the back of the line. Okay. Woo. So yeah, so I feel like anti-Blackness is global, right? Like there's no place you're going to go where people aren't going to, I don't think, I have never experienced a place where people aren't going to be, base their experience, how they respond to you on your by your Blackness, if you're Black, right? Like it's going, not everyone is going to do it, right? But it's going to happen in places. And being in Africa does not save you from that. You see that 6 foot tall man and his like 5'10" wife? What are you doing? Why are you just just walking right in front of them, stepping in line? What's this? What is this? Why do you feel like this is okay? That couple was of Senegalese descent, but they lived in America, and they told those people to get on to the back of the line. But I don't know if the reason that the non-Africans felt comfortable doing that is because usually if Senegalese people would normally push back, or are they comfortable doing that because Senegalese people let them get away with it? I don't think there's one universal answer to that question, but I am curious about how the fact that the people that were in line behind me were raised in America, even though they have Senegalese ancestry. I wonder how that played into their response and that whole interaction. What's happening here? Okay, so I think Latrice is talking about Rwanda here. Super pleasant experience. The only thing to get used to is the stairs, which shouldn't bother me. I am a non-slim woman, so it's pretty clear I wasn't from there. Okay. Rwanda. Let's see. Raquel Flynn Free says, my cousin went to Tanzania, Zanzibar last year. FaceTime me and one-eyed stray cats, mosquitoes, lizards, and dirt floor restaurants. Hard no for me. Okay, that's not the life you want to live. Get it. Ashley in Africa is in Tanzania or was in Tanzania. And Ashley in Africa on YouTube. Let's see if I can drop a link to her channel, if I can find it. That's Africa with a K, I think. In Africa, yes. There goes her. There goes her autoplay thingy. I'm going to drop a link to her channel so that you can see that if you're interested in Tanzania. I think there's a lot of content about it. Right. Ashley Africa was also in our Get Your Next 3 Clients challenge, which starts today. The new version starts, the new iteration, the new cohort starts in a couple hours. So we're super excited about that. Ashley was one of our previous students and has started multiple businesses since then. Living in Africa, feeling free. Let's see. What else do we have? Latrice says, been to Niger. Also, it was lovely, but it's 90% Muslim if that's not your thing. Knowing how you respond to different religious environments, I'll call it, is important. Yeah, it's important. Okay. African and blessed to travel says, I stayed in Rwanda for about 4 months. The expat community there is wonderful, and I found Rwandans to be helpful and kind. The landscape is beautiful in Kigali. I'd be terrified to drive there. Okay. But it sounds like in 4 months you could stay there without driving. So maybe you didn't need to. Let's see. Ashley just moved to South Africa. I thought she moved. Good morning, Lisa. Okay, so we've talked about Rwanda. We've briefly hit on Ghana. Does anyone have thoughts on Nigeria? Well, I'll wait for someone to type, but I'm also going to go through the comments and see what I missed. Latrice has been to Benin and Togo. She loved Benin. Togo is beautiful, but the people are mean. I'm guessing you didn't feel welcomed, which is the question I'm asking today. I'm guessing you did not feel welcomed if you're saying the people are mean. Thank you for sharing. Let's see. Okay. Since so someone who lives in Abuja and loves it. I'll talk about Turkey here. It's not in Africa. We'll still talk about it in this zone. My adult son and I are in Turkey, in an area not too far from where the earthquakes happened last week. Been here over a year, but we're not welcomed here. We get glared at for just being. I know other people who love the experience in Turkey. I feel like it's probably kind of a mixed bag. I'd love to know, Divine Arisha, which city you're in. And if you're in a city where they see a lot of, not a lot, but like a number of Black tourists, or if you're more secluded. I've been to Egypt. I'm not going to say I felt welcomed, but it didn't feel it. It's the feeling of like constantly being a foreigner. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Okay. Let's move on real quick to Asia. Where in Asia have you felt like this could be home? This could be home. Tell me. Where in Asia have you been like, this is lovely? This is wonderful. For me, it was Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai, Thailand was the place for me. Bobby Jefferson says Thailand. Specifically, Bangkok felt like a lot for me. But Chiang Mai felt like good to me. Good. I'm not going to say that I didn't feel othered, but I also feel like they had a large enough community of Black people that I felt like I could see enough people who looked like me regularly, and the othering didn't feel violent. The othering felt curious, not like, it didn't feel like you don't belong here. It felt like, oh, you're here. Okay. Right? But yes, I did feel, it wasn't like, oh, welcome, you are one of us. No, it was like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't expect that there, but it didn't feel like, how dare you be in my country, which is sometimes what it feels like in other countries. Okay, so Edna Jean says Bali. I'd love to hear more. If you can give us more information, Edna Jean, about why Bali was on your list. Christine Smith says Japan. Not for me. Japan was challenging for me. I went before smartphones. It was just, I didn't feel unwelcomed as a Black woman. I felt unwelcomed when I was with a large Black man. And a random tiny Japanese man tried to fight him on the train, like actively trying to pick a fight while we're sitting there coming back from karaoke and minding our business. And like, you can't fight Japanese people in Japan or you're going to jail. And so like, even though the guy's obviously trying to, I think the guy, I don't know if he was, what it was, but like, it felt very like, oh, this is unsafe for us just traveling on public transportation. And like I said, this is kind of a one-off thing. Not everybody's going to try to like, right? Like not everybody who goes to Japan is going to have someone try to pick a fight with them. But there were things like, I was struggling with a suitcase, which when I like lifting up the stairs, when I got to the airport, I found out it was 100 pounds. And that's why it was hard to drag down the cobblestone streets and up the train stairs. There were no elevators in the train station, 2 train stations I was in. And all these people just whip by me. All these men just like whip by me. And so there's 2 things for me there. One is in the US, I feel like I would have stopped some man and been like, I need you to help me with this. What you got, right? And I didn't feel comfortable doing that there. And the other is, I feel like in the US, someone would have been like, some man would have been like, you need some help with this, right? As I'm like pulling step by step. Instead, a Japanese man reached the top of the stairs, turned around and took photos. This is in Tokyo, took photos of me struggling up the stairs. And then a woman, one of the last women off the train, came by and she was like, you need some help, don't you? And I was like, yes, I do. And the woman helped me with my bag up the stairs. So that kind of like instead of helping me when I obviously need help, your first approach is to like take a photo of me struggling. that doesn't feel welcoming to me. It didn't feel great. Those are the things where I was like, I know why people love Tokyo. I went before smartphones, and that was a challenge on its own because I'm like reading maps and trying to translate from books and things. It was a challenge. But I think I would go back, but I don't need to go back anytime soon. Why are y'all? Y'all, no one's going? Child. It was a mess. All the men just moved right past me. Like they don't even see me. Invisible. Ooh. And then Oman was taking photos, and I was like, I should throw you down these stairs. I should, but I can't because I have this bag. Woo. Yeah. So that was, not ideal for me, but I totally understand people who love Japan, who love Tokyo, why they love it. Yes. Which would be different if he was like if he took a photo and then was like, "Need some help?" That'd be different. But he took a photo and walked on. I said, "Oh, okay, I'm dying here, dying." So yeah, so all right, let me go back to the top. Let's see. Shauna said Tokyo and Bali. Bali there were too many dirty hippies for me. The unwashed masses, the proportion was too high when I was there. I was like, can y'all go back to Australia though? Like, is it too much to ask that you bathe or go back to where you came from? And it's not, I mean, bathe is a strong word. But like, it's a lot of y'all here. It's a lot of y'all. I don't like it. And so I felt like where I was in Bali, I was in Ubud. There were too many things that catered to tourists while I was there. And I think I've seen a lot of that sentiment in the comments. Western tourists and I guess residents have kind of taken over the island. And so it's a lot of things. I was like, what did the locals do? Like, I couldn't find really the local experience. I felt like that also where was I? Once in Dubai, I was like, what's the local experience? I cannot find the local experience. And my friends who live there were like, there is no local experience. Good luck. Have fun. There's nothing. I was like, what do people like? It was like, what's the traditional? What do people like? Where do they traditionally go? They were like, there's none of that. This doesn't. No, everybody's at the hookah bar. Like, no, or whatever. Like, they were like, that doesn't exist here anymore. I kind of felt like Brazil was heading in that direction where like whatever the traditional modes of doing anything were getting lost. But I understand why people like it. Let's see. I told you already I liked Thailand. Hong Kong. I liked Hong Kong. Hong Kong money though. I was like, can I get a bag of cash and stay here longer? Like, what do I have? Because my pockets keep emptying out every day. I'm inside out with my pockets every day. What's happening here? So besides it being really expensive, I did enjoy Hong Kong. I only went to, KA went to Malaysia. Tell us more about why you like Malaysia, please. I like Malaysia, but I'm solely there for it. No, the first time I went, I was there for a day, and then I stayed for a week later on. Hot. It was too hot for me. I felt like every time I went, and I went in the spring, it was sometime between like February and April, I want to say that I went. And every time I stepped outside, it was immediately like, yep, that's bra sweat. Immediately drenched every time I went outside. in Kuala Lumpur. And I was like, this isn't, but I didn't feel not welcome. The question is like, where do you feel welcomed? I didn't feel unwelcomed. I didn't really feel othered. I feel like people in Malaysia, like the people in Chiang Mai, were very good at being like, and the people, it's one of the reasons I love Mexico. Most people are very much like, I have my own stuff to do. I'm worried about you. Like, what are you doing here is not my business. What I'm doing here is my business. And that's one of the reasons I liked Malaysia. South Korea was interesting in a good way. Singapore too. Singapore is like, my first time there was kind of otherworldly. I was like, it's so, like everything feels like kind of like perfect. I don't know how to explain that any better. Maybe someone else who's been to Singapore can. It feels like everything's just like designed. I don't know. Without feeling overly artificial. Stephanie says the people in the Philippines are just as wonderful as they are in the US, not a home feeling, but very welcoming from cities to tiny islands. I have not been to the Philippines, but Stephanie says good things. Frances is in Chiang Mai right now and really likes it. She went to Bangkok first and left after 4 days. Yeah, Bangkok was too hectic for me, but Chiang Mai was very much like laid back. Yes. Janine, I hope I got that right. Has been to Chiang Mai, Phuket, Bangkok, and Thailand. All of the Thai people were really nice. The Australian and British travelers were annoying. Yes. All right. I would say no. I think that in some places it might make a difference. By the time I got to Thailand, I had been in 40. No, I'd been to 40 cities in a year, and I think that was like 20. Maybe I'd been on like my 27th country in that year. I think I can't remember exactly right now. And so I was done learning new languages. I did not learn a word of Thai. Don't be like me. It was very disrespectful, but I just didn't have it in me to learn another language. I did not have it in me to learn more words in another language. And Thailand was one of the places where I felt most welcome, even though I didn't speak their language. So for me, no, I don't think it may be a function in some places, but I don't think it's going to be a function everywhere. Like people, here's the thing. Think of America, right? If in America, even though we have no official language, right? Most people speak English, right? If your welcoming ends where English ends, are you really a welcoming people, right? Like if you only welcome people, if you're only being, and as a tourist, you know what I mean? Like I'm not expecting much. I'm not expecting you to speak my language, but I'm hoping you will help me struggle through with yours. If you speak my language and I don't speak yours, please let's do, you know what I mean? But like, I'm not expecting you to learn my language to cater to me. I know I'm gonna be on the struggle bus if I don't speak your language, right? And I think most tourists, I'm gonna say most, a number of tourists expect the same thing. But if your welcoming ends at the language you think should be spoken in that country, are you really welcoming? I would say no, right? Like if I can't be welcoming to someone in the US because they speak Spanish or because they speak Russian, I understand being like, I have no idea how to help you, but like, what can I do? I don't speak your language. Like, what can I do to help you in the situation? Is different from being like, I don't know what you're talking about. Get away from me, right? There's differences there. And so I would say that I'm not going to feel welcomed if language barriers mean that I'm not treated well. Like you can't be a place that allows tourists to enter and then treats them like crap for not knowing your language and think that that's like, okay, right? And I'm not saying that that's what you're saying. I'm saying that like from a people perspective, like we have to, our generosity shouldn't stop at the language we speak. And if it does, maybe we're not that generous. Okay. Okay, so Singapore, Alicia enjoyed Indonesian civil colonizers showed up. Yep. Let's see. Great things about Chiang Mai in the Philippines. Let's see. Yeah, that's Bali in a nutshell. There's a lot of catering to others, which if you, oh my God, I'm not going to name the YouTuber, but I saw a video the other day about how, and I don't want you to look this up because it's terrible and you should not get any clicks. Please, I beg you. But there was a video running around, I think on TikTok, about how Bali is like, it's got like the whitest village in the world, and like it's so affordable to white tourists, and it's a beautiful place for white people. And I was like, who's making this content? Like, why? You're going to hell. And like how the service is, the Indonesian service is so good. And I'm like, you, like the colonizer energy is out of this. I've never seen it. I've never seen anyone do something. I've never seen a travel creator do something that gross before. And I was like, this is a special level of terrible, because it's all about how Bali is the perfect place for white people. He didn't even say for tourists. He specifically at some point said white tourists. Like it's so affordable for white tourists. What's happening here? Yeah, I was like, I'm not even a Bali fan, and I'm offended for the people of that country. And I'm not a Bali fan, not because of the people of the country, but because of the other tourists. Anyway. Woo. Katrina Lily says, I felt like I could blend in Singapore. I was treated well with no issues. I plan to visit Malaysia soon. Okay. Alicia said she felt safe in Japan. Other people, yes, I know people who love Japan. Let's see. Oh yeah, I did. Ivana, I asked about where you felt welcome, not where it's broke. Yes, so about Hong Kong. Yes, I felt welcome in Hong Kong. Welcome and broke. I also said, where do you feel like you want to feel? And I don't want to feel like poverty. So Hong Kong ain't it for me. But yes, I did feel welcomed. I felt like, it's a pay-to-play world, so come through, right? Lisa, you mentioned ethnic rhinoplasty before. I'd like to know in more detail what that means. What is ethnic rhinoplasty? If anyone else knows, drop it in the comments if Lisa's not here. Yes, I agree with this. Kuala Lumpur is great. Everyone is friendly, diverse population. English is widely spoken, high quality of life, reasonable cost of living, and active expat community. Yes, beautiful. Hot. If you can get past the sweats, beautiful place. Loved it. Great. I couldn't get past that. But yes, I did feel welcome there. Let's see. Let's see. Oh. Okay, so Divine Orisha, this is a terrible story, but it also brings up an important point. You said we're in Alanya. Yes, locals are familiar with a lot of tourists coming to the area. My son was violently attacked by locals unprovoked. You're treated different when you live here. That's something to consider too. right? Like, how will you be treated when you're staying at the Marriott versus when you're staying in a local neighborhood? Right? Those can be completely different experiences, and so something to keep in mind as we have this discussion. I'm very sorry that happened. I am curious if you feel more safe as a Black woman with or without your son, right? Like, when I was in Japan, the only time I felt unsafe was when I was with a Black man, and it was clearly like a dick measuring contest on the train. Like, we're sitting here, like, that we did not want to be involved in. And the guy was like, I have to fight you. You're a big man on the train. I have to fight you now. We were like, we just want to get out of here, please. And so I'm wondering if you're having that same kind of experience in Turkey, where it's like being with your son as a Black man, that's an additional challenge that you don't face as a Black woman. I'm curious about that. Yeah, Teddy, I know ethnic rhinoplasty is a nose job. My question, like, I know rhinoplasty is a nose job. She specifically said twice ethnic rhinoplasty, and I want to know what makes the nose job ethnic. Are we unethnicing our nose, or more like what is the ethnic part of the nose job that's not just rhinoplasty? That's my question, Teddy. Let's see. So it's just, okay, so Hermes Addict, I think, gave me the best answer so far, which is they do nose jobs for us. So they do nose jobs on Black and brown noses. They do nose jobs on noses that may be more traditionally African. I think that's what you're saying. Hey, Phyllis. Y'all, I have to shout out Phyllis because she came over. She missed the Bay Area meetup, but she came over to the Airbnb I was sharing in Fidelia, and she helped us do so much work, and we really appreciate her for being there. But they have another meetup. The ladies met up last Saturday. Last Saturday? Time is a blur. Another meetup in Sacramento today, so I'm so excited for them. They all, well, Phyllis was not the meetup, but all the ladies who left the Bay Area meetup left with a new friend. They left with a new friend. They left with a new buddy. And now they have another meetup today. And I'm so happy for them. Enjoy, Phyllis. Bye. Okay. A nose job that still accentuates the ethnic look. All right. Okay. Thank you. Because I have never heard of that before. All right. Let's see. The Googles helped us out. Enigmatic Psyche says ethnic rhinoplasty is a term used to describe nasal surgery performed for individuals of color with the goal of improving the appearance while still preserving features of their heritage. Okay. Love that. Thank you for sharing. I know you got that from the internet. And someone dropped the name of a doctor in Turkey if anyone's looking for that. Okay. Let's see. Turkey and Iran are known for this. All right. Okay. Anywhere else in Asia that we haven't covered yet that you want to talk about, where you yourself have felt welcomed? I'll wait for some comments, but also we are, got my teeth done in Istanbul last year. Y'all out here making it pop, and I love it. Love it. Let's talk about Australia. Who's been to Australia and was like, this could be home? Or like, maybe if it wasn't for, you know what I mean? Like, if you could move Australia to anywhere else on the planet, it would be home. I know it's hard to say that because it's like far away. But if anyone's been to Australia and was like, I feel really welcomed here, please let me know. Australia is a place that I'm kind of curious about going to, but I don't really have super high hopes for. Vibracious life with Lisa says Australia has never been on my list. Yeah, like I want to see it, but between the spiders and the snakes and the distance and the way they treat the indigenous people, or they have historically, I'm just like, I don't know. Janice went to Sydney and felt ignored, and went to Cairns. I hope that's how you say that, Cairns, and felt very welcoming. P Afro Blue, I did not speak about Taiwan, but I love Taiwan, and I felt welcomed enough in Taiwan. I was in a hotel. I didn't really do anything like too local, but I didn't feel unsafe. I felt like I could live in Taiwan. Some of the people I talked to live like out in the country in Taiwan, and that don't sound like it was it for me. I think for me in Taiwan, it would be Taipei or nothing. But the ones I spoke to who were in the country were like, it's not it. All right, anything else on Australia? Okay, Valerino went to Australia in 2016. I like Sydney more so than Melbourne. I can't say people were welcoming outside the hotel. I saw some blacks, but think they were Africans or UK. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the home of Australia. I enjoyed the wine, but that was all. I didn't feel welcome. Something about being in a space where people were deliberately expired and whitewashed. Too many microaggressions. Okay. All right. Let's see. Move on to the home of all the languages we speak, because everybody's favorite colonizer is from there. So let's talk about Europe. Where are the places in Europe where you have felt welcomed and like, this feels good? I like how I feel when I'm here. I like how I feel. I feel like I'm treated well. I feel like it supports the life I want to live. Anywhere in Europe? While we're waiting for those answers, people also have questions about New Zealand. I have no idea. I think I've heard better things about New Zealand than Australia, but I haven't been to either, so I can't say. Okay, so the ladies are telling us Paris. 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 I like Paris. So when I went to Paris, I was like, I expected it to feel overrated. And then I got there and I was like, oh, I see it. I see the vision. I see what y'all been talking. Okay. I don't know that I'd want to live there. To Paris. I don't know if I'd want to live there, but I liked it. I enjoyed the vibes. Our Black Utopia says Lisbon, Portugal. I heard it's cold there right now, girl. I heard it's cold weather. I heard y'all not boycotting winter over there. Is that true? I heard winter is in full effect in Lisbon right now. I heard the weather isn't welcoming. But yeah, no, I hear great things about Lisbon. Let's see. Accident Safe liked Denmark. Southern Rose Tia D says Athens and Grenada. Let's see. Everybody is loving. Okay, or meth addict. I don't want to put you on the spot, but they love you but hate your husband. Is your husband black? I don't know. Just for a little extra context. If you don't want to tell us, you don't tell us. But just just for context of that statement, I'd love to know. I loved Italy and France. People in parts of Italy were welcoming, but not Rome. I felt like Rome was one of those cities where they were like, we get it. You're a tourist. Move on. And it wasn't like that they weren't welcoming. It was kind of like they didn't have the time to be welcoming. It didn't feel personal. It didn't feel like I don't want to help you. It felt more like I don't want to help anybody. Like y'all tourists keep coming. That's what it felt like when I was in Rome. Like, it's more y'all? Okay. It's always more y'all. Let's see. Rome has had almost a New York City vibe in terms of not loving the tourists. Yeah. Which, right? Like, if you look like me and you don't speak fluent Italian, they gonna guess you're not from here, right? So it's hard to not stick out as a tourist. Oh, the truth is Germany and Turkey, they seem to just go about their business, but when you need help, they're very friendly. I've had two really terrible to me airport experiences. One was in Israel, one was in Frankfurt, Germany. And so I've been to Germany 4 times, I think, mostly for work, always for work. And I didn't love it. I was always like, I was in Munich, I was in Leipzig, didn't love it. When I went to Berlin, I was like, okay, Germany's not completely terrible. I see it now, right? Like, but Leipzig, Germany? Challenging. Munich, not as challenging, but not great. Berlin, I was like, yep, okay, all right, much better. Berlin was much better for me. Frankfurt, bad airport experience involving a very small room and a man with a gun. And some physical contact. Not like sexual physical contact, but like he pushed me with his gun. Like the big long, like physically pushed me into a tiny room without saying any words. What's happening here? Why are you? And then when I was out of earshot, the employees, the Delta employees, to me were like, I was like, you gonna tell me I got selected? You're not gonna tell me I got selected because I'm Black? These are Black employees. And they're like, no, they would never do that. I'm out of earshot. I was with, by the way, I was with 3 white coworkers when they did that, and they only selected me for random screening. And when I was out of earshot, the same Delta employees who were Black, who just gaslighted me about it not being because I'm Black, were like, they always do that to Black people. In front of like, they didn't know my coworkers could still hear them. My coworkers were like, yeah, they said they always do it to Black people. And I'm like, I'm literally standing here with these white people, and you walk up to me. We're not doing anything. We're just standing at our gate. This man starts pushing me with his gun. I have no idea what's going on. And I was like, I'm just here. I wasn't asking any question. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't like it was a check-in point. I was literally just standing at my gate. This man walked up to me and started pushing me. I'm in a small room. I have no idea what's going on. They just start searching my bag. And those Black Delta employees were like, no. Black American Delta employees were like, no, it had nothing to do with race. They do that all the time. It's just random. The minute I couldn't hear them anymore, they were like, they always pick the Black people. Like, I know you don't want me to get upset about it. And they were probably in some way trying to like make sure I didn't get upset, but gaslighting me about it didn't make it better. Anyway, so that's my German experience. Didn't love it. Yeah, Bear Lux had a terrible experience in the Munich airport. One person in duty free thought I was stealing. Also, I had to go back through an extra search line to catch my flight back to the States. Yep. So Latrice had a horrific experience in Turkey. Amsterdam is coming up as a place. Erica says Frankfurt Airport is terrible. I avoid it if I can. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I won't be there. I'm seeing Greece. I'm seeing Amalfi, Italy as good places. Athens, Finland, Sweden, and Switzerland. I've been to Switzerland. Just like Hong Kong, I was like, it feels perfectly fine, except who gonna pay for this? Who gonna pay for this trip? I walked past, this is not about money, but I walked past this video's not about money, but I'm gonna tell you my story anyway. Walked past a Chinese restaurant and tea, like a Chinese restaurant, they might give you like miso soup and a salad and like a cup of tea. That by itself, not with a meal, that by itself was over $20. They had that on the board outside, but this is what you get. You get the tea, you get the miso soup, you get the little like lettuce salad for over $20. I was there doing calculations. Everywhere I went in Switzerland, I was doing calculations. Like, when I convert this, we've gone from apples to planets. Like, what's happened? But I felt fine there. Chandra says Italy seemed more welcoming the further south you go. I have heard that. Let's see. Questions about Russia, the Republic of Georgia, and Poland. I haven't been to any of those three, but I've heard good things about Georgia. Another thumbs down for Frankfurt's airport. Like, y'all have too many people traversing through this airport on a daily basis. It is a hub. Get it together. You don't have to, I'm not expecting you to speak English to me, but not saying anything, like you could point. You ain't got to push me with your gun. You could point. I'd pick up on it. Thanks. Let's see. This is the one I got randomly stopped and searched in Amsterdam Schiphol Airport wearing my college t-shirt. The only other people that were stopped was someone that was Black and Sikh. Mm-hmm. Yes. Anti-Blackness will catch your ass anywhere. Anywhere you want to go. It's right there waiting for you. Let's see. Okay, so her husband is white. Yes, girl, I see you. Use that man's privilege. Use it. I tell people all the time, I really believe that wherever Black women can find privilege in this world, they should use it. And if you have tied your life to a white man who you find acceptable to you, I'm kidding. Use his privilege. Yes. Wherever you can get it. Picky Girl says Sweden is a yes for Black women. Tell us more. Because you were supposed to come back engaged and you didn't. So tell us about Sweden. They're like the earrings. They're from Amazon. They're super cheapies. I'll link to them when the video's over. I'll link to them in the thingy. Let's see. Lisa's advocating for Black women to find love in Europe. I'm advocating for you to find love wherever it finds you. Okay, now we ain't doing horror stories today. So clearly, I'm not saying your friend isn't innocent, but clearly something happened. But I want to know whether they put your friend in prison. Her brand new husband? Yeah, that's why you can't be tying your life to these men. Now you in prison. Now you in prison for some man you just married? Okay. Hermes Addict says, Italy, I love, but alone it becomes scary. Same with Greece. They will follow you and touch you. I had a few circumstances where strange men have done that. I think that because Black women are so unprotected around the world, it'll happen in a lot of places. It happened to me in Egypt. My tour guide wanted to take a photo. So we took a photo, and he's arms around each other. And then I can feel him like creeping his fingers around to get to my boob. And I was like, I am paying you for a service and you're trying to molest me? Like, how? Do you want the money? Or you want to get pushed off his pyramid? What do you want? What is it that you're looking for here? Because you can't get both. Whew, okay. Okay, I've been to Spain 3 times, and I've always felt safe and pretty welcome there, although Barcelona is not for her. I think never been in New York, but that was crazy, busy, crowded vibe I got in Barcelona. Yeah, I liked, I went to Barcelona and Madrid, and I like them both. I'm not going to say I felt particularly welcomed in either. I think someone tried to scam me, perhaps. There was a moment when I felt unsafe in Barcelona, but it was at the hands of a Black man. It was like, what you're saying sounds like it is 3 hours pre-kidnapping. Like, I'm gonna go in my direction, because what you're talking about does not sound like a safe and good choice to make. Thank you. Goodbye. Let's see. Montenegro. Who has thoughts? Anyone? Okay, so Adelia wants us to know she was never looking for a husband. Adelia's, I know she's not looking for a husband. I worded that incorrectly before. But the Swedes seemed very cool, and no one really cared about us. Black, definitely a place I'd return. Let's see. I was treated very terribly in Brussels. Outright racist behavior. One man in a shop wouldn't check out my items. I had to leave the store, never going again. All right, let's see. Oh. You travel with a man who has weed and you have no idea? I can't listen. Is there anything more dangerous than tying your life as a woman to a man? We don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about that little fact enough, that yes, men can be nice to have around, but also your own man can be the danger in your life. You traveling with weed with me? In a foreign country? Ew. All right. Our Black Utopia says Montenegro was not friendly to me. I did not feel welcome. Croatia, I felt good. I felt good. I like Croatia. But I never really got out of a tourist zones in Croatia. Alicia says Montenegro was nice, and low season I wasn't there enough to get a sense of it. Yep, I had a great time in Croatia. I enjoyed it, no issues, and felt good. There were a few people there during low season. I'd visit again for sure. Okay. Hi, Jay. I have a whole video on Buenos Aires on my channel. I've been. I will never go back. Woo! Okay. Let's see. All right, let's see. We talked about Europe. Let's talk about North America real quick. Y'all know I love Mexico for a variety of reasons. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm saying that I like it. I feel safer than I do in the US. I like the way I feel here. I feel welcomed. Everyone's going to have different experiences. But I really like it here. America, I'm going to tell y'all how I feel. Canada feels like baby America. It does. Did I ever tell y'all about I think I'd say on one video, I was in on Vancouver Island. My best friend lives on Vancouver Island, just outside of Vancouver. So Vancouver is very white and reasonably Asian. Vancouver Island was very indigenous. Now it's very white. One woman went out of her way to like tell me she was racist in a way that I was like, if I stay here any longer, like I'm required to burn this whole shop down. It's not her shop. If a shop owner isn't hearing her say this, if I don't leave this spot right now, I have to. For my ancestors, I have to burn it down. So I'm just going to walk out because I don't want to get arrested today. And then my bestie is white, had to call the shop owner and be like, here's what happened. And here's what you need to do. Because this is not like it was so like, I see you here minding your business and not talking to me about any topic. But I'm going to tell you that I firmly believe that racism should be a part of our everyday life. So let's have this conversation. I was like, wait a minute now. wait a minute. What? I'm going to back away because this is ridiculous. So yeah, for me, Canada is just like baby America. Like y'all know different. Y'all are no different. Y'all are no different. Like it's the same thing. Y'all just, you're a little nicer most of the time about your racism. But who has some Central American countries they love? Y'all know I didn't love Costa Rica. Nothing against it, right? Like it just didn't feel like a place I would enjoy living long term. Where else? What do you guys have? Oh, we didn't talk about while we're in North America, let's talk about Central America as well. And the Caribbean. Central America and the Caribbean. What do you love? What do you hate? Drop it in the comments. Adelia says Honduras was fine, but not for dating. They only see one color, and it isn't ours, in my experience. Yeah. Is the violence in Mexico in pocket areas? Yes. Also, America and American press are really trying hard to hold on to the idea that they are the best country in the world and everybody everywhere else is shit, right? Unless possibly Europe. Possibly Europe is okay, but every other country is crap. Like you'll hear about, people always ask about the violence in Mexico without consideration, but like the violence in America is worse, right? Like, yes, every once in a while there's a violent outbreak. It's usually some kind of like in some kind of illegal activity involved, right? People who are typically just minding their business aren't caught up in it. I'm not saying always. I'm saying, sometimes things happen, but it's not like people are going inside the grocery store and shooting up shoppers. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people being upset that like someone got arrested. You know what I mean? Like there's always something behind it. It's not just, I am an angry man with a gun, so I'm going to go kill some people. Violence is violence, right? Like if you die, you're dead. It doesn't really matter why it happened, but the way they talk about violence in Mexico and in other countries compared to the way people talk about violence in America is really astounding. What? I mean, was it last week where we had more mass shootings than we had days in the year? Was that I feel like that was last week I heard that we had more mass shootings in 2023 than we had days in 2023. That's not happening in Mexico. But not from what you'd hear on the press. So it's complicated. Teddy Davis says El Salvador is poor, but the people are welcoming and amazingly friendly. Shauna likes Roatan and Belize. I liked Belize. I felt welcome in Belize. Guatemala was great. I think having a higher indigenous population had an effect on how we related to each other. I can see that. Lived in St. Croix. Loved that. Yep. Aruba. The thing I really liked about Aruba was how much I'm trying to say this without sounding like a jerk. I recognize that it's a country that relies on tourism, but I really like the way that they, like in school, the kids have to learn multiple languages. And I know that is at least partly, maybe not fully, partly related to tourism, right? And so I don't want to say that I like the way they cater to tourists, and it sounds like that's what I'm saying, but I also know that knowing these languages will help these people, the people of the country, if they want to go to other places, if they want to move out of Aruba. Having these languages will be a benefit to them and not a detriment. Having more than one language. Learning more than one language in school is so important. And they learn like 5. I was so impressed by that. Okay, y'all. Do the damn thing. All right. Shauna S. says Puerto Rico and Jamaica. I lived in Puerto Rico and Jamaica for a while. I like Jamaica. I don't think I would live there again. But whenever I've been back, I have felt welcomed. Puerto Rico, I didn't necessarily feel welcomed. I liked it. I did get outside of a tourist. I have cousins who live there, so I did get outside of a tourist area. And specifically outside of a tourist area, I didn't necessarily feel welcomed. But I remember being in Costa Rica and being like, how do y'all drive? Like, this driving is crazy. But now that I live in Mexico City, I'm like, oh, okay, that driving is fine. It's fine. My standards have changed. The driving that I thought was crazy is really just regular. It's just fine driving now. All right. The worst experience BE's had in Mexico has been followed around a store. I don't fear random violence here the way I do in the USA. Okay, so there's also, I'm not making excuses for Mexico. I'm not making ones that I don't think are factually true. I will say that sometimes when I'm followed in stores, it's because someone is actually trying to help me. As a Black person, it took a while for me to be like, why is this man always over my shoulder? And then I realized that in some stores, they just, I'm still Black wherever I go. There's still racism here. In some stores, they're like, let's see what this Black person is doing. In some stores, they're like, if you go to read something, I got to go grab it for you, right? Like I have to help, I have to be of service to you. And so it took me a while to realize that was what was happening to me. And BE, I'm not saying I'm not saying that that's what was happening to you. You may have been followed because they thought you were going to steal something. Like I said, racism is alive and well here, just as it is everywhere else. But that was something I had to be like, oh, they're actually trying to help me. I'm not used to this. Thank you. Okay. Francis says, Dominica and St. Lucia are wonderful. My home islands are two U.S. Virgin Islands. Okay. Dominican Republic, I know, is charged with a lot of strong feelings. I haven't been. I don't know that I'm going to go. I don't know. I know some people live there and love it there. I just don't. It's not high. I feel like there are so many other islands that don't have a reputation of treating Black people terribly, right? Like I know that a lot of the Caribbean islands we go to, we're not going to be, our tourist dollars are not going to be prioritized the way white tourist dollars are, right? But I don't know that I'm going to go out of my way to go to a place that I haven't experienced it, that I hear regularly is openly hostile to a specific subset of Black people. In my view, whatever your specific subset of Black people is, that is me or that could be me. So like, yes, you may only hate Haitians, but I'm a boat ride away from being Haitian, right? Like my family all came from some island. So it doesn't matter to me that, you know what I mean? Like I can't, I struggle with that, right? Like if you're not nice to your own indigenous people, I have no reason to believe that you're going to be nice to me, except possibly you think a blue passport or money is a reason to treat me better. And it's not. It's not. It's really not. If you hate Blackness, you hate me because I'm Black wherever I go. I may have an American passport. You may assume I have more money than other people who are in your country already, but those are your assumptions. And it's a really crappy reason to treat someone differently. Anyway, yeah, no, Dominican Republic is not on my list because of that, but I know a lot of people have a good experience there. All right. Concur about El Salvador. Okay. Ivana feels so welcome here in Mexico. I've been traveling, and when I came back, my neighbors and local taqueros asked about me. When I was gone in Senegal for December, I came back, I walked the way, I wasn't going to Pilates, but I was walking the way I normally walk to Pilates. And I see these drivers who are outside this one building. I need to know what they do in this building. It's a big money building. I don't know what they do. It's a small building. It's a tiny little building. But the cars outside that building tell me, and the driver standing outside every day. It's the only one on the block. Something's going on in there. I have questions. But one of the drivers, like I have one special driver there. We saw each other. Oh, we were like, hey, because I hadn't seen him in a month. I hadn't thought about him. He probably hadn't thought about me. But when we saw each other, it was like, there you go, right? Like, and that's just what life is like for me living here, right? Like, I know, but if I pass this building, I'm going to get a huge, like, hello, how are you doing every day from someone. I'm never stopping because there's too many men there. There's usually like 5 of them. We don't need, they get into hello and I'm walking by, right? I'm not stopping too long. I probably should so I can find out what's going on in the building soon. But yeah, like I feel very welcomed. When I came back last time I came back from my travels, usually like every time I go to security, I've got to like, we have a card, we've got to like swipe ourselves into the building. This time I came back with my suitcases and security was like, come on, girl, like we know. And that same day I left and came back in again. I had like my braids and a big bun on top of my head. I'm also one of the very few Black women in here. Instead of being like, we're required to swipe ourselves in every single time, but the guy was just like, come on, I know it's you. You look like you had a hard day. Come on, just come on. So yeah, I do feel very welcomed here. Let's see. Yeah, no, and that's why I like having these conversations because there's so much misinformation about other places that it's not helpful. It's not helpful. Like I don't find US travel advisories very helpful. Like what are other countries besides the US saying? Don't go to Tulum? What's going to happen? What's happening in Tulum? Just say you want your tourism dollars to go to someplace in Florida, because that's what's really going on. All right. Peru was amazing. I spent 2 months there and was treated wonderfully. Okay. Hey, Lisa, I'm glad you found the channel too. Kay Stewart also felt very welcomed in Peru. I haven't been yet. It's on the list. I mean, look at this. In El Salvador, I overheard my taxi driver return to my hotel to give me my change and would not accept a tip. Highly recommended. Listen. Let's add in South America when we're going through. What places in South America have you felt really good in? One day we'll talk about sex tourism. It won't be today. I don't even know what to say about it besides like, so I think that a lot of us, remember when I said earlier, like if you have an advantage, you should use that advantage. I didn't say this, but what, comma, you should use that advantage as long as you're not hurting other people is after that phrase. If you have an advantage, you should use that advantage as long as you're not hurting other people. And I feel like a lot of times as travelers, if we are going to a place where people generally have less money in their pocket than we have in our pocket at that current time, we need to be careful that our actions and our interactions are not firmly being guided by poverty. And so with sex tourism, it's kind of obvious. Like these women aren't into you. Like a lot of these women, if you go somewhere and you fall in love and this is your perfectly ever person, this is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about guys who are like, come to these places because the women are easier, right? As an example, I went to I went to this restaurant, this lighthouse restaurant in Dakar in Senegal, and there was a band performing, and I wore shorts in one place, and people were looking at me like I was just the trollopy trollop ever. Like, what am I doing? What's happening? You're not from around here. I go to this restaurant and I see these women performing in traditional headwear. The gilet. I don't know if that's traditional to Senegal, but that's what they were wearing. And a sequin bra and like a little tiny skirt. And I was sitting there. My first thought was, am I watching poverty? Like, am I watching poverty in action? If these women had better financial choices, would they be dancing in a bra right now? Or am I I didn't know this before I got there, but have I put myself in a place where my entertainment is being guided and my entertainer is being guided by poverty? Because if so, this feels terrible. This is not good. I do not feel good about this. I'm not saying that's what was happening. I'm saying that was my question about what was happening, because every woman I saw was covered up until I got to this place and women are in bras. If they had other financial choices, would they be making these decisions? Because if they would not be making these decisions with other financial choices, I cannot support these practices and these places that have women doing things they would not normally do if they could make better financial decisions, if they had other ways to make money. You out here dancing on stage in a sequin bra? Oh no. Maybe that's like what you want to do and you don't feel any kind of way about it. Or maybe not. I don't know. But I don't feel good. As a person who has not seen anybody else walking around in any kind of a crop top anywhere, much less a bra, I don't feel good about this. I don't. I feel good about this. And so I think that's something we're often not careful enough about when we travel. Bobby Jefferson says, Ecuador. I liked Ecuador. I don't know if I felt welcome. I was only there for maybe a week, but I liked it. Has anyone been there longer? I've heard this a bunch. Salvador Bahia, Brazil. People like it there. Blended right in with the locals. The Howard Worldview says they had friends who were recently robbed in Buenos Aires. A necklace was snatched, gift from a deceased parent, very small and tucked under. Others on the same cruise were robbed also. I have a video about Buenos Aires on this channel. I will try to drop it in the comments here. But what I noticed about Buenos Aires personally was that, because I've been twice, I hadn't noticed it before, but I noticed it. I'm more aware of it now, is that the economic climate in a country will probably determine a lot about how you experience the country, which is kind of obvious as I'm saying it. But the first time I went to Buenos Aires, it was a good experience. And the second time, the economy had tanked a bunch and it was a significantly worse experience. People were downright nasty at times. And it was like, I can't point to anything except the change in the economic factors. And so things like being robbed are probably another sign the economy is not doing any better, right? So I will not go back to Buenos Aires. Unless I was like, had to pass through there. When I went there last time, it was because I had to pass through to go to Antarctica. But even people, I mean, there are a lot of people from Buenos Aires in the comments telling me that I'm an idiot, I'm a jerk. Of lots of like racist things. They show up to say that there isn't racism in Buenos Aires by being racist to me. Like the only reason I had a bad time was because I'm poor. Do you hear yourself? Can you hear what you're saying? Like you're being racist. Why would you assume I'm poor? Why? What is it about me? Okay, whatever. But there are a lot of people from other places in Argentina that are like, yeah, Buenos Aires is terrible, and the people in Buenos Aires are terrible. So they're not even that surprised about it. Someone said Colombia was a good choice. I like Colombia. I really like Colombia. Cartagena. I like Bogota, but in the winter, I probably really like Cartagena. I like Cartagena, but it was another place that was too hot for me. But I liked it. I liked it. Colombia was nice. Yep. Lots of Colombia in here. Let's see. Oh, 51% of the government in Rwanda is woman-led. Okay. So about poverty, you think about that when it comes to animals. Like, does this animal? I'm assuming it's a different choice, right? Like this animal don't want to be performing. This animal does not want to be drugged and doing what it's doing. But here it is. But yeah, I think about it all the time. Or I try to be really cognizant of the fact that like I have this channel because I talk to women who do not enjoy their jobs, right? Who want to do something else. And so I recognize that a lot of us are doing jobs we don't enjoy. But there's a difference between like not wanting to clock in at Macy's tomorrow morning because you don't enjoy it versus in a Muslim country dancing in a bra. There's a difference. And so I want to be aware of that as I travel through the world. Alicia had several racist experiences in Argentina. Fair India was wonderful. I was there for a month and was treated like a queen. India was challenging for me in some ways. I felt like I got really good experience. In some ways, I was like, this is not awesome. Like the first day we got to one of the cities, someone followed us and we were like, we can see you as we walk through following us. He starts screaming at us about how this is his country. He can do whatever he wants. And I'm like, you're literally, we walk to one booth, you walk to one next to us. We cross the side, you go over there. We go to another block, you are literally following us so much that we had to like run. We waited till he like turned around and we took off running and like hid somewhere from him. Because we were so close to our hotel that we felt like we couldn't walk inside our hotel. So we had to like hide and like move around. So we didn't lead him directly to our hotel. What's going on? Baby, what's happening? We just landed today. There are also things where like, I felt treated really well in the hotel. Outside of the hotel, it was like, these are challenges, right? Like being in line for places and someone's grandma just being like, I see you, but I don't see you. Getting right in front, like walking right up and not like pushing you out of the way, but like physically like getting in there right in front of you. And like, I can't lay hands on grandma. But when enough of this happens, I want to lay hands on grandma. Like, what did you like? You can see there's no like, you see that there's a line. You just don't care. Like that kind of stuff. And some of that may just be cultural, right? Some of that may not be because I'm Black. Some of that may be because people don't expect older Indian women to wait anywhere. But after a while, I was like, I'm not enjoying this, right? Like I said, this may not have been a situation where people were not welcoming me. It may have been a situation where my expectations were not met, which means it's not a good fit for me. Let's see. I'm trying to be respectful, but what has happened? There were a few situations. We were at the Taj Mahal, and an Indian woman was sitting there who was, my friend was a little lighter than me, but she's dark. She's between my friend's color and my color. So she's a darker Indian woman. And she's sitting there. And so, like, we're sitting on like a side thing, like a window ledge kind of. And she's on the side too, except she's turned her full body. And she's staring in our face. Like, she's like, I'm here. Friend is here. She's like staring in our face. Another reason I didn't love China. We haven't talked about it, but no one said China would be a very welcoming experience. Thank you. It was not. But the woman is staring and staring. And then she tries to talk to us. Neither one of us speaks any of the Indian languages or dialects. And so we can't talk, but she's like obsessively staring. Okay, this is kind of uncomfortable. Like it wasn't, I don't think she was trying to be rude. And one thing I always try to be really cognizant of is if I am in a famous tourist place in a country, I'm probably going to see people from other cities in that country. So even though I've been in places where Black people have been, for the last 100 years, right? They've been there or more, right? Like they've been here. She may not be from a place that has Black people coming through. I felt like that in China, in some of the larger tourist like places that I would go. I'm like, okay, maybe this, even though there's a billboard with LeBron right there, right above our head, the reason you may feel the need to touch me may be because you are from a smaller village and you have never really encountered a Black person before, but keep your hands to yourself. But also, you can look, but touching is where we draw the line. And so there's that idea that like, just because I'm in Beijing and there are Black people in Beijing doesn't mean that this Chinese person is from Beijing. And I try to give a little bit of leeway for that until we get to the touching. So the Indian lady, I was like, she really may have never seen a Black person in person before. In Bangkok, I was getting on the train and this family was there. And this kid who was like, just at like, you could tell it was one of those new standers, new walkers, maybe like 2. I don't know baby ages, maybe 2. He kept like pointing and laughing at me, like pointing and like being like, everyone, you see this? You see that? Like being like, Ma, brother, do you see that? And I was like, okay, like you're young, so I'm not gonna push you down, right? And like the brother would be like, stop it. Because he like 6, 7, so he's old enough to be like, we're not doing this. But then the kid would do it again. And the mom would never check the kid. And I'm like, at some point, Mom, I have to check you for not checking your kid. Because it's rude. If your 8-year-old knows it's rude, it's rude. Stop your child from pointing at me and getting people's attention and pointing. Stop that. Stop that. It's not like there's nowhere that would be polite. Nowhere. So we're not going to do that. It was lots of and like what? I can drop kick you, little one. Don't do this. You too small, and this train station is too crowded for you to be getting wild like this. You could come up missing. Don't do this. Lady, grab your son. Grab your son. Grab him. Don't do that. Anyway. The toddler was looking for the smoke. The older brother was like, we shouldn't. No, he was like, he kept putting his hand down. And this little toddler kept raising it up. And I was like, why would we do this? Why? We don't need to do this. Like, mom, get your kid. Get your kid. All right. What countries haven't we talked about? A fair one for yoga training. Yeah, it makes sense. I went to Thailand for like a yoga retreat, but I went to India just for 2 tourist experiences, and the locals were a trip. It was also disconcerting to see like aggressive wealth and aggressive poverty like side by side. Like the hotel we were staying in, all marble, everything. Like our marble floors, tub, everything, everywhere. In our room, not everything luxurious. Down the street, apparently there's a building with like a guy who's got an elevator that takes his cars to his like way up in the sky, whatever. But like just outside, there's a family sweeping off their square of sidewalk that they live on, and a kid coloring and doing their homework on their square of sidewalk that they live in. And I felt like that for a majority of a country. Like people were really, really rich or really, really poor. And that was challenging. It was challenging to maneuver. So, all right. We've been talking. We've hit 2 hours. What haven't we talked about? Brazil. We talked about Bahia. Where haven't we talked about? We talked about Spain earlier, Lisa. So if you want to go back, you can grab that. Spain was kind of a mixed bag. Italy, we spoke about. Guyana. We didn't talk about Guyana. Any strong feelings about Guyana? Someone mentioned Chile earlier, Global Granny. I had a fine time. Suriname. Oh, all kinds of questions. Bolivia. I have not been to Morocco, but we're going in April with Exodus Summit. It is a group meetup for Black women only, and there's still tickets available. You can get tickets by going to exodussummit.com and by going to our Facebook group. We don't post the link publicly because we need to make sure it's only Black women who show up. And Black women who are part of our community who understand what we do and understand how we move through the world. Iceland, I enjoyed. I felt fine in Iceland. I didn't feel like any kind of way. I didn't feel really overly welcomed. I didn't feel shunned. I was like, okay. I just felt like a regular tourist. Like, yeah, it's fine. I have someone else I know who's been living there for months. Don't remember how many months right now, and they've had a great time. They have felt really welcomed. They've been giving places to stay for free by people they met on planes. Like, oh, I'm going to be gone for a couple months. Stay in my place. Okay. And they have survived, right? Like, so, yeah. I know people are having a good time. Yes, Michelle, tickets are available. You know, all you need to do is email me. The wait list is in the Exodus Summit group. You can get on that there. The Morocco meetup was sold out, but our refund date is until February 21st. So people who have had something else come up have been getting refunds. So there are tickets available still. Let's see. Ramona said the UK. I got nothing. I want to go to Ireland. Okay, so funny story, not so funny. I was born in London, but I've never really had a desire to go back. And I don't know why. I think it just seems cold and gray. And like pre-Brexit, it would have made sense for me. Like, let's go, let's get a passport. Let's explore Europe as much as we want. Post-Brexit, y'all looking real funny. You acting like America? I can't even get into them other countries? No, I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh, Iceland was lovely. I saw a few Black women visitors there when I visited. I've never seen folks who look so free and happy. Yes, enjoy that. Alicia enjoyed Morocco, but shopping areas were aggressive with a calling and soliciting. Otherwise, it was fine. I would return and wouldn't mind staying longer. Simi, I think this is accurate. For me, it was. I enjoyed Ecuador, but not as welcoming as Colombia. Accurate. Listen. Tanzania, I linked to Ashley in Africa's channel, Lucille, because she was living in, I'll put it in the description of the video. Oh, no, not what I wanted to do. I'll put it in the description of the video as well, of this video. She's a good person to check out if you're thinking about going to Tanzania. She lives in Johannesburg now. That's in there. All right, what else? Before we wrap this up, what haven't we talked about? No, Rasta Pablo, I meant what I said. I meant that like America is leading England in the general foolery that they've been doing lately. They're in the lead. That's what I meant. That wasn't a historical reference. That is a current today reference. Let's see. Hermes Addict says, if I was born in London, I'd be there today. Well, I got my passport out of storage, so we'll see what happens. But like, I'm not pressed about it. Solani says, colonizers from the same people. Yep. Heard great things about Ireland. I've heard great things about Ireland, about Dublin. Yep. We didn't talk about Kenya, African and Blessed. Do you have any thoughts on Kenya? Does anyone have any thoughts on Kenya? Hey, Fatuma. Okay. In Scotland. All right, y'all. We've gone around the world in 124 minutes. I think we might have done it for the day. Patuma traveled to Scotland today, and it's beautiful. Well, here, Enigmatic Psyche wants to go to Martinique, which I don't really hear spoken of that often. Solani says, Kenya was lovely. They clearly differentiate between black and white tourists in a positive way. I was warmly accepted by so many. I rarely hear from a black person that when they are not treated like a white tourist, it's in a positive way. And so I'm very interested in hearing more about that. Anyway, y'all, I have group coaching for the Get Your Next 3 Clients Challenge. We're doing it twice this year. The first one starts today. The next one is in June or July. I don't remember. That's a second or third quarter issue. I'm not worried about that yet. And so I'm going to get off here and we're going to talk about something else next week. Thank you guys for being with me. And we will catch up again in a little while. If you have any questions about countries, if you're watching the replay and you have questions about countries, I don't have answers. Oh, Latrice, we'll see you in the challenge. Yay. Okay. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Turn on notifications if you don't have notifications turned on. I'll talk to you later. Bye.